Hi everyone, my name is Christy and welcome to my makeup review series. Today I am so excited to be trying out this Too Faced Let's Play on the Fly eyeshadow palette. This is one of the products I got in Ipsy this month and I was so excited because I love Too Faced and I love trying out eyeshadow palettes, and the colors in this palette are also right up my alley. And such cute packaging. It's actually like a tin type packaging and it's supposed to smell like bubblegum, which I think is so fun. But it's definitely not like a potent bubblegum smell. I feel like you can't even tell that it smells like bubblegum. But because I know it's supposed to, I can get like the slightest whiff of it. But it's also got the mirror here and 8 shades. It's a mix of, it's like 4 mattes and 4 shimmers. And I love that there's pinks, but also neutrals. But this kind of small palette, only 8 shades, still retails for $32. So definitely a pricier brand. I'm glad I got it for a good deal in Ipsy, but let's see if it's worth that price point. I'm gonna start out with some swatches. Oh, such a pretty pink matte. Definitely gotta swatch some shimmers. It has kind of like a dry feel to them. I feel like sometimes I'll swatch eyeshadows and I'm like, wow, they're so creamy and buttery, but these have more of a dry, kind of baked texture. Like, yeah, that matte pink is definitely not looking very pigmented. The shimmer shades are swatching nicely, but that matte, I need to swatch other mattes to see what's going on there. But I'm happy with how all of those shimmer shades swatched. But yeah, let's see how these matte shades swatch. I mean, picking them up on my finger, they look pigmented, but the swatch, definitely not as pigmented. Can see all very cohesive. Let's go ahead and see how it is on the eyes. And I definitely want to test these out with and without an eyeshadow primer. Here I have the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion, one of my go-to eyeshadow primers. And I've definitely had experiences before where the Too Faced eyeshadows look so different with and without a primer. So maybe this will help make those matte shades show up a little better. And so now the first step that I'm going to do is apply the highlight shade to my brow. And I love that there's this beautiful shimmery highlight shade. Perfect shade for this. So just with my finger, I'm going to put this right under the brow. Oh yeah, that looks so nice, reflective. It's nice and bright, so I'm also going to highlight the inner corner with this shade. Seriously, a perfect brightening eye highlight shade. Super quick and easy, applies great with my finger. And I like to start with the highlight, so then as I blend the crease and the transition shades, it'll all go perfectly blended right in place. Next, I'm going to pick up the light matte shade. It's like a super light pink, and I'm going to blend this all over the lid, bringing it up to the transition area right below and kind of on top of where I put the highlighter. But this more just to prep the lid, cancel out some discoloration. And this shade, I mean, it's not showing up much, especially on my skin tone, which this is kind of blending in with my skin tone. But it's fine for this purpose, just to set and prep the lid, cancel out a little bit of the discoloration for a clean look if that's all I wanted to do. But that's fine. I am glad that this palette has those 2 first essential shades though that really starts out any eye look that I do. But okay, now for the crease transition area, I think I'm gonna go right for this pink shade, the matte pink one. It's such a beautiful shade of pink. It's like a Barbie doll pink. And I'm going to blend this. I'm going to put this in the crease, up to the brow bone there. Typically I would do like a neutral brown shade here, but we don't have that in this palette, so I'm going to go for more of a fun, colorful look. But this is actually showing up with a good amount of pigment, blending out really nicely. But keeping in mind this is the eye with the primer, but I'm happy with how this color is looking and how pigmented it is. Let's see how it is now on the eye without the primer though. Wow, you can immediately see the difference. It is just way less pigmented, much more sheer. It feels like my eyelid is just like absorbing it. I'm like, where is the color going? I dipped back in for more, whereas I did not have to do that on this eye. So, wow, the eyeshadow primer helps so much. I just dipped back in a third time to try and build up this eye to look almost as pigmented as the eye with the primer. So definitely need a primer with this eyeshadow palette, and I'm starting to come to the conclusion with any Too Faced matte eyeshadow, a primer makes such a difference. It's crazy. So fun. I love this pink color. I'm going to go ahead now and pick up the darker matte shade, this maroon color. And I'm going to put this in that outer corner and then blending it right into the crease here to deepen up some dimension. And I would say this is looking great. Just dipped back in and now I have some nice pigmented opaque color in the outer corner there, blending well into the crease. I like this combination of the pink and the maroon shade in the crease to deepen it up. But now for the eye without the primer, let's see. It almost looks like a completely different color of eyeshadow. Like this is looking a little bit more orangey red, whereas this is that true like maroon purpley shade. It's gonna be tough to get the eyes to match like this, but I'm just gonna kind of focus more on like this is the potential of this palette. But okay, now moving on to some shimmers. I'm gonna go for this more purpley pink looking shimmer and just picking it up on my finger. I'm gonna place this. I'm gonna go all over the lid because this color is looking really nice with those matte shades already on my eye. This is a nice shimmer shade to really pull it all together. And it's looking opaque, pigmented. It has a little bit of sparkle. Really nice. And now without the primer, I would say that when I typically would apply a shimmery shade with my finger without a primer, it'll still look pretty good. So yeah, I'm still dipping back in for a lot of product, but the shimmer shade looks pretty similar with and without the primer. Definitely not my most like everyday, easy to wear eyeshadow look, but I'm loving the colors and I like to try out as many shades in the palette as I can. So I'm gonna go ahead and now pick up this red shimmer shade on a more precise brush to pull the look together by blending this along the lower lash line. Ooh. Yeah, this really does pull the look together because all the colors are so cohesive. And this one is actually showing up with great pigment. You can see the sparkle still. Very nice. This is definitely a nice like Valentine's Day Barbie type look or inspiration palette. And so here is my completed eyeshadow look. And so I'd say that this palette is pretty good with the primer. Without the primer, I'd say not very good, especially the matte shades, more so the matte shades. But the color story in here, I mean, I've got the two like daily essential shades. The other shades, I like them, but they're not the types of shades that I'm gonna get a ton of use out of. And going back to the fact that this is a $32 palette, do I think it's worth $32? No, but I love Too Faced and I like to have this in my collection. But in order to achieve a similar eyeshadow look or even better with more options, you do not have to spend $32 on this palette to achieve something like that. So it's a fun to have, not a need to have. And I also just feel like a little bit limited in the looks that I can create from it. However, I would love to hear in the comments down below, what kind of looks have you created with this palette? What are your thoughts on it? But thank you so much for watching my video today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon in my next video.